Welcome, Kayla Smith.
Good morning, everyone. How's everyone doing today? Thank you. Thank you for joining us today for this historical occasion. My name is Kayla Smith, and I will be your Mistress of Ceremonies for the evening. Growing up in San Francisco D5, Hayes Valley to be exact, since the early age of 4, I have been blessed to receive guidance and mentorship from my entire community. From the time I spent at Mo Magic to the many wonderful memories that I created with my project level family at the AAACC. I went from running the fashion department at project level to now earning my internship at NBC this upcoming summer. I've always been ambitious, but I was lucky to have women in my life that looked like me and achieved great things. And one of those great women that I looked up to the most, our current mayor, my godmother, London Breed. She hasn't changed much, by the way. To this day, she's still the same supportive, wise, and inspiring person she was when I was a child. She supported my dreams and project level in any way that she could, which is evident by me standing up here today. I know all too well the impact Mayor London Breed has had on myself, and I am extremely excited to see all the wonderful things that she will do for the city. And for that, I say thank you. And now, please join me in welcoming Father Paul Fitzgerald, President of the University of San Francisco, to deliver today's invocation.
Thank you, Kayla. And thank you all for being here today as we honor and congratulate and thank our mayor, London Breed. Mayor Breed completed a master's in public administration at the University of San Francisco back in 2012. And I offer the following blessing on her behalf, but on behalf of her professors who loved her fellow students who loved her, and all of us at the University of San Francisco who love her, are proud of her, and who are praying for her continued success. But even more so, we are praying that Mayor Breed will continue to realize the goals of the degree program that she so ably completed. In our Master's in Public Administration program, we prepare our graduates, people like London Breed, for public leadership by advancing a challenging curriculum while pursuing complementary research, transforming learning into actions that serve our communities, especially the most vulnerable among us. Our diverse graduates become outstanding leaders who provide ethical, workable solutions to societal needs and who advance justice. So in London, we see all of the learning outcomes of this degree program: social justice for all people of the city and county of San Francisco and beyond, diversity in all its forms, integrity in all that we do, accountability to all whom we serve, excellence, educating students like London Breed to become compassionate and effective leaders who humanely manage public organizations, prepare London Breed and other alumni to initiate and facilitate interactions between government, for-profit, and non-profit sectors to provide ethical and workable solutions to societal needs. I join with her many fellow USF alumni, all citizens and residents of the city and county of San Francisco, in asking God's blessing on Mayor London Breed this day and every day as she brilliantly fulfills her duties and her vocation of heroic leadership, guiding us with love, justice, and hope into a shared future of inclusive excellence, peace, and prosperity for all. So I ask you to join me in raising a hand of blessing. We ask God to bless London Breed with the 7 gifts of the Holy Spirit: wisdom, understanding, counsel, fortitude, knowledge, piety, and fear of the Lord. And loving God, please bring her much joy and great satisfaction as she leads us. And I ask the people to all say, Amen.
Thank you, Father Paul Fitzgerald, for that beautiful invocation. And now, of the posting of the colors for today's inauguration is the Junior ROTC program from Mayor London Breed's former high school, Galileo High. And performing today's national anthem is Kadan. Katie is a singer and songwriter who recently made it to the top 4 finale of NBC's The Voice, where her musical talents was praised by the likes of John Legend and Kelly Clarkson. She released her first self-titled album last spring. Please rise and join me for the hoisting of the colors and singing of our national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the rampart we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glow, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Thank you, Katie. It is truly an honor to introduce our next speaker, who will administer the oath of office. As our first female African American to be appointed at the San Francisco Superior Court, she has paved the way for women and people of color to succeed in law and has been a role model and mentor for generations of young lawyers. Please join me in welcoming the Honorable Judge Teri Jackson.
Get dressed here in front of you. Forgive me. Welcome, everyone, and good morning. On behalf of the Superior Court for the state of California, and then just a little aside, when I see this many people in a room, I'm ready to swear you in as jurors, and you just report across the street. So watch me. Okay. But on behalf of the Superior Court for the state of California, all 1,600 strong trial judges throughout this state, it is such an honor and a pleasure to be here. And as my last official duty as a Superior Court judge, it is such an honor to be able to administer the oath of office to our mayor, London Breed. I've also been told to explain why this is my last official duty as a Superior Court judge. As of January 21st, 2020 at 11 o'clock, I will be elevated to the Court of Appeals, 1st District, first African-American woman. Thank you. So, what way to go out on a big bang is to administer this oath. So with that being said, Madam Mayor, could you please come forward? Are you ready?
Yes.
Okay. Raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, London N. Breed,
London N. Breed,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support
that I will support
and defend
and defend
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of California
and the Constitution of the State of California
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance
that I will bear true faith and allegiance
to the Constitution of the United States
to the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of California.
and the Constitution of the State of California.
I take this obligation freely
I take this obligation freely
without any mental reservation
without any mental reservation
or purpose of evasion,
or purpose of evasion,
that I will well and faithfully discharge
that I will well and faithfully discharge
the duties upon which I'm about to enter,
the duties upon which I am about to enter,
and during such time
and during such time
as I hold the office
as I hold the office
of Mayor of the City and County
of Mayor of the City and County
of San Francisco.
of San Francisco.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you all so much for being here today. And thank you to the people of San Francisco for trusting me to continue to serve as mayor of such an incredible city. As we welcome a new decade, it's really worth taking a moment to reflect on how far we've come in this decade. In 2010, San Francisco was deep in the Great Recession and our workforce was in trouble. Our unemployment rate had more than quadrupled since 2000 and was at a 20-year high. 10 years later, we are riding the longest period of economic growth in our history, with one of the lowest unemployment rates in our city's history. The homicide rate has dropped to its lowest in more than 55 years. In the last decade, San Francisco's leadership on marriage equality, affordable health care, and medical cannabis became the laws of the land. We began the transformation of public housing and passed 2 massive affordable housing bonds. We made a record investment in our parks and our libraries. We modernized our Munis fleet and made it free for those in need. We launched our clean energy program, dramatically reducing greenhouse gas emissions. We even got our hands dirty, replacing our sewer system. We passed paid family leave, a $15 minimum wage, and made City College free for all. We built bike lanes, repaved our streets. We built the Presidio Parkway and the Moscone Center. We welcomed the Warriors home. We watched the Giants win it all, then do it again, then do it once more. And our Congresswoman gave up her gavel and won it back. And we became the capital of the resistance. Over the past decade, we've made great progress. But through it all, we've grappled with the twin troubles of homelessness and housing affordability. At the dawn of this new decade, they remain our greatest challenges, and they are what I want to talk about today. I was an intern in the mayor's office right here a quarter of a century ago. I had the privilege to walk up these stairs every day as a member of the Board of Supervisors. This building's beauty is timeless, its spirit and inspiration. Earthquake and fire destroyed San Francisco's first city hall, but we built another even more magnificent than the first. Why? Why do we build these monuments? What do these marble stairs and golden dome, what does it mean to us? It isn't excess or vanity. It's a reminder. We build this temple of our civic democracy, and we swing the doors open for everyone because it reminds us that our government is a collaboration, that our successes and responsibilities are shared, our potential unbound, and that none of us would be left out in the cold. I take the oath of office today remembering that not too long ago, my ancestors were in chains. I've never found out exactly where they lived, but I know a bit about how they lived. I know their masters sat at tables eating generous meals they didn't prepare. I know they huddled outside, thoroughbred and beaten. I know they ate mush from a wooden trough, not with spoons, but with naked hands and makeshift tools. That they lived in a world where, as Frederick Douglass said, justice was denied, where poverty was enforced, where ignorance prevailed. The Civil War ended the bondage, but the inequity had only begun. The slave owners kept their lands, and the former slaves kept the nothing they already had. So with that nothing, most went back to work at the farms. They rented their labor as sharecroppers, or if they were lucky, tenant farmers. Generations of poor African Americans scraped by, living in fear that if they protested too loudly, that men in hoods would come. When the Depression hit, two of those sharecroppers, a young couple with 11 children, moved from Louisiana to Texas. Sometime later, their daughter, Miss Camellia Brown, came to San Francisco. She came in search of work. She came for something better. She came to raise her children in a place where they might be equal. My grandmother came here to believe in a city of hope, a city where a young Black girl can go from public housing to the mayor's office. And she was right. San Francisco is so much more than our home. It's a refuge for the gay, lesbian, and transgender brothers and sisters from all over the country. It's the start of a new life for immigrants from Guatemala to Guangzhou and all points in between. It is the hope of dozens of generations of my family. It is the promise that everyone has a place in this city, that no one should be left out in the cold. So when we come to this hall or walk down Market Street and see the suffering of thousands of people outside our door, it hurts. It hurts not because we are callous, but because we care. The suffering on our streets, it offends our civic souls, and it should. But if we're gonna do something about the conditions on the streets, we need to level with each other. Homelessness isn't new, it isn't easy. We are not the only city struggling with it, and quite frankly, we are not going to solve it in 100 days, a year, or even entirely in this term. And I'm not sure solve is the right word anyway. While the city has helped thousands of people out of homelessness, thousands more took their place. And sadly, there will always be people whose addiction or mental illness or poverty leads them down a dark path or puts them in need of help. Los Angeles has more than 36,000 homeless residents and a Skid Row that is its own tragic city within a city. 3 years ago, San Diego had a hepatitis outbreak amongst its homeless population that killed 20 people. They had to spray their sidewalks with bleach to fight the infections. I point this out not to criticize those cities. I know how hard they are fighting to address these problems. Cities up and down the West Coast, Seattle, Portland, Oakland, Santa Rosa, and us are waging this fight. Homelessness is a national epidemic with too many American cities grappling with drug addictions and overstretched resources and insufficient housing. Now, we haven't stopped sending our taxes to Washington, D.C., but they stopped sending back anywhere near enough for homelessness and affordable housing. So each year, San Franciscans write bigger and bigger checks, and we ask ourselves, why isn't it getting better? Why do we keep sending more money, yet the homeless count keeps going up? First, let's dispel some of the common but inaccurate explanations we hear. It's not because we aren't funding solutions. It's not because we are indifferent. No one in my office, no one at the Board of Supervisors, no one in our city departments, no one who lives or works here is kicking back and throwing their hands up and pretending like we've been able to do something great. We are all living with it every day, working on it every day, frustrated by it every single day. Homelessness is so severe, so acute, up and down the West Coast for a few simple reasons. Housing is too expensive. Working class jobs are too uncertain and their wages too outpaced by the cost of living. Drugs, opioids, and meth in particular are too common, and decades after the state closed its mental hospitals, California still hasn't come to grips with how we're gonna care for people who are severely mentally ill. Homelessness isn't just a problem, it's a symptom. The symptom of unaffordable housing, of income inequality, of institutional racism, of addiction, of untreated illnesses, of decades of disinvestment. These are the problems, and if we want to fight homelessness, we got to fight them all. And in San Francisco, we are. We will meet our goal of opening 1,000 new shelter beds by the end of this year. We just opened a new navigation center along the Embarcadero Center, and our Bayview shelters break ground shortly. We just opened our first safe parking facility to help people who live in their vehicles. We're adding more than 200 new mental health beds, expanded treatment and outreach, and we are transforming how we deliver mental health and substance use treatment in our city. We have more permanent supportive housing units per capita than any other major city in the country. And we have 300 more supportive homes opening up in the next 6 months. We've expanded rental assistance and emergency problem-solving funds to help people avoid homelessness in the first place. We are expanding our new conservatorship program so that we can finally get people with mental illness who are suffering on our streets, who are unable to help themselves, the help and the support that they need. We are working to open meth sobering centers, safe injection sites, and managed alcohol facilities so we can stop walking by addiction spilling out on our streets and start treating it like the healthcare issue that we know it is. I've directed our city departments to reprioritize spending towards making our streets safer and cleaner for all of us. We are writing ballot measures to build more mental health facilities and reform our business taxes to help support those programs. We are fighting for more support from the state. And in this election year, we will fight for a federal government that actually helps Americans in need, not one that uses human despair, as a political weapon to go to war. To be clear, with these efforts will come a measure of what my grandmother used to call tough love. We are no longer accepting that compassion means anything goes on our streets. Yes, many people are sick, and we need to offer them help, but if they don't want it or can't accept services, then we will bring them into treatment. We will continue to expand our services, our shelters, our housing, so that there is a place for everyone who is in need. And when we have a place for people to go, we cannot allow them to languish on the sidewalk. It's not humane, it's not compassion, and it's not safe for anyone. Every day, so many city workers, from our nurses to our doctors, to our social workers, to our street cleaning crews, to our police officers, our medics, they're out there helping people and working to make a difference in our neighborhood. I'm so grateful to work alongside these dedicated public servants. They don't get the credit that they deserve, but please know we appreciate your work. But even those city workers, just like the people they spend every day helping, will be in trouble if we don't address the biggest issue of our time: housing affordability. If firefighters and teachers and muni drivers and nurses, the hearts and soul of San Francisco, can't afford a home in the city they serve, how is someone who struggles with low wages or no job at all supposed to stay housed? How? You know, frankly, I'm tired of hearing about a housing crisis, because crises are unpredictable. They happen suddenly, and policymakers usually avoid them. Our housing problems were entirely predictable. They are the result of decades of almost intentional underbuilding, and the decision decades ago to downzone almost 3/4 of the city and ban apartments. We don't have a housing crisis, we have a housing shortage. And if we want to relieve the pain on the streets and stop seeing our friends and family members move away in moving bans, we need to build more housing, preserve more homes, a lot more, and stop playing with the policies that make this possible. Over the next decade, in addition to our work on preserving thousands of permanently affordable homes, we need to build at least 50,000 new homes, at least 50,000 new homes. And at least 17,000 need to be affordable. And to get to 50,000, We can't let disingenuous warnings of shadows and height get in the way of badly needed housing. To get to 50,000, we need to recognize that density is not a dirty word. To get to 50,000, we have to push for solutions to build homes faster and support policies like SB 50 that will allow more multifamily housing all over the Bay Area. I'm committed to working with my fellow mayors across the region and the state to create more housing. Because just like homelessness, this is a regional and statewide issue. I'll be going to Sacramento to fight for it because we need more housing for our workers, for our families, for our seniors. Because our retail shops and restaurants can't hire people who can't afford to live here. Because San Francisco should be viable for all San Franciscans of all income levels. We can't say we need more housing and then reject the policies that actually allow us to build that housing. I wasn't here decades ago when we imposed restrictive laws to prevent new housing, but I will be here when we start building more homes throughout San Francisco and the entire Bay Area again. It is time. So here's what I want the next decade to look like. I want this to be a decade where we no longer walk by a person shooting up or a person who's shouting out of control or suffering on our streets and shrug our shoulders or turn away and wonder, what should I do? I am determined over the next 4 years to create enough places to take in people with addiction or mental health problems so that when you encounter someone in need, you can make a call and know that that person will get the help that they need. As I said before, compassion can no longer mean anything goes. I want this to be the decade when residents and visitors to our city can enjoy every neighborhood every single day without fear or crime or unacceptable behavior. We have what we know is one of the most beautiful cities in the world. This is an incredible city. I want it to be lively. I want it to be diverse. I want it to be safe, and I know you all want that too. And I want this to be the decade when San Franciscans, from the multi-generational native to the just arrived immigrant, can live with the confidence that he, she, or they, and their children will be able to call this city home for generations to come. We can be a vibrant and welcoming city, a city of affordable and diverse homes, a city where we come together and put aside our differences to meet the challenges that we know we all face with clarity and conviction. A city where we can care for one another, where our streets are safe and no one is left out in the cold. San Francisco can be the city that a sharecropper's daughter dreamed it to be. San Francisco can and will be a city for all of us. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, this person said to me, "It is a blessing to be a blessing." And today, the person that's providing a blessing to all of us so that we can start 2020 off right and what we need to do to move our city forward is no other than San Franciscan Santana. And with his amazing special guest, Yolanda Adams.
Come together, children. Come together, one another. We are sisters and we're brothers. Jesus left a long time ago, and he said that he would return. He left us a book that we could believe in, and in it we have a lot to learn. We will proclaim love as our salvation together. Mr. Carlos Santana. Hold it together. Hold it together. Hold it together. We gotta do it together. We gotta do it together. Together, together. Together, together. Together, together. Together, together. Unified together. Unified together. Unified, 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 unified together. Put your hands together. I wanna go where the north wind blows. Wind blows. Yeah. Wind blows. I wanna know what the falcon knows. Yeah. Falcon goes. Falcon goes. I wanna go where the wild goose goes. Goose goes. Goose goes. Mother, 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 save your child. Come on, y'all. I don't want clouds hanging over my head. No, no, no. Over my head. I don't want no sober bed. Sober bed. Sober bed. I'm gonna live until I'm dead. Till I'm dead. Till I'm dead. Mother, 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 save your child. Come on, y'all. So we say, ride on, be free, be free. Ride on, be free, be free. Ride on, be free, be free. Ride on, be free. I don't want no sober bed. I don't want no clouds hanging over my head. I don't want no clouds over my head. This ain't the time. Ain't no time to be
Sister of Light, Yolanda. We want to say we're so grateful, and it's such a deep honor to be here in this most memorable occasion, because our Sister of Light is in charge of changing the narrative. Her light will be sufficient to change the whole, not just the Bay Area, this nation and the whole world. Because she's anointed, it's designed by grace, and we salute you and we say, it's about time.